Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World Chaos Theory figure, and as you can see, we've got the first of the new wave of Danger Packs. This is the Guanlong and Lystrosaurus, and it's definitely a pretty cool set. First of all, I am really excited to see a Guanlong in the Mattel line. Absolutely a species I never expected to see at any point in the Mattel line, but it's very cool that we do have one. The Lystrosaurus I am also happy to see, though it's the same thing I think as the last time. It doesn't look like there's like anything different with this one that I noticed, you know, right out of the packaging here. Looks like it's just a straight up repack, but I could be wrong. But again, the figures look really cool here on the front. Definitely your standard when it comes to the Danger Pack line, but this is only the second time that we've had one of these 2-pack sets, which is very exciting. I love that they're releasing smaller species like this in 2-packs. And then when you take a look here at the back of the packaging, you can see the other figures that are in this wave, all of which are new except for this weird Velociraptor that they are yet again giving us. This raptor appeared in the previous Epic Evolution line and was a repack from the previous Jurassic World Dominion line. So this is now the third different wave that this figure has appeared in. And I don't know that any Mattel figure has ever done that in the past. They usually at least give you a repaint or something, but this looks like it's the exact same figure again that we had 2 times previously, but we again have the baby Apatosaurus and Gallimimus in this line as well, which will of course be up for review here on the channel. So let's pop these out of the packaging, and then we're just going to jump straight to a closer look and check them out from there. So first of all, the Lystrosaurus. The Lystrosaurus is absolutely awesome. I love this figure. Cannot stress enough how much I love this figure and the inclusion of it in the Mattel line. It is such a very cool species that there are so few figures out there for. Now, let's look at the downside of this, because if we bring in the old one, it absolutely is definitively just the same figure. There is nothing that I'm noticing on the newer one compared to the older one that is any different. The tones of color look to be the exact same. If anything, maybe slightly, and I mean like ever so slightly lighter in the reddish brown, but I don't even know if that might just be my eyes playing tricks on me or the way it's painted. You can see we have the same darker brown moving along the top. It also runs up into the head here, ends in like the forehead area. The beak is the same dark tone. Those tusks are also the same light grayish tone. The eyes are painted the same, except the newer one has wonkier eyes. He's like looking back behind him, and this eye's looking over here someplace else. But the figure as a whole, again, is definitely the same figure, which means we don't really need to go over this guy at all. It is awesome to see it re-released, especially because the first set wasn't that common, so it is nice to have a second chance to get a hold of this guy. And there is the Jurassic Facts app code, just in case it brings up a different figure. But again, the figure to me looks to be the exact same release as the first one. So that brings us to the Guanlong, which in my opinion, even though I love the Lystrosaurus, the Guanlong is the star of the show here. So if you take a look here at the face, you can see we've got some really nice looking detail. And even though the face is this kind of brighter yellowish tone, which makes it a little harder to see and appreciate the detail, there is definitely some decent looking detail here found on the face of our Guanlong. You can also see that we've got a dark gray that kind of stripes down from the crest and also circles around the eye and stripes down toward the jawline, and that actually has a bit of a gloss coat to it. As you move back, we basically transition to a slightly different shade of gray, but almost the same tone, and it may just look like a different tone of gray because this one is applied differently with like a satin shine to it and stuff. I'm not really too sure, but not too different as far as the tones go, just ever so slightly darker here in the face. And again, you can see the lower jaw also features that yellowish tone. We do have an articulated jaw for the figure. We've got the tongue painted on the inside of the mouth, and no paintwork there on the inside of the mouth and the upper side. It almost looks like we don't really have any detail up there at all, which is not Mattel-like. That's kind of surprising. The teeth look okay, though. I will say the teeth, for the most part, at least on the upper jaw, look pretty decent. The teeth on the lower jaw, focus, camera, focus, look a little bit sloppy as far as the paintwork. Like there's definitely a way too much paintwork that's been applied down there, but they don't look terrible as far as the overall appearance to them. My camera really does not want to focus on the teeth of this figure. But as you move back here into the neck, you see some feathers picking up, a little, almost like a slight crest of feathers there picking up off of the back of the neck. As you move down through the course of the neck, we have that grayish tone for the feathering, which looks really nice. You have the yellowish tone leading down here, but it ends very quickly as you lead into the throat. As you continue to move down, the feathers look very good, very kind of, I often say it, emu-like, almost as far as the feathering goes, but a bit finer than what you would see on an emu, kind of what I would expect basically for this type of dinosaur. As you lead down into the arms also look really nice. They're also fully feathered. You can see the muscle definition. You can even see a little bit of feathering here sticking off of the bottom of the arm, leading down into the hands. The hands are sculpted pretty nicely. There's no nail paint or anything for the figure, unfortunately, but the fact that it has a dark gray for the hand already kind of gives it the look of being sort of like painted nails, because I would expect a darker tone like that, but it looks pretty nice as far as that area goes. And of course, you have articulation in the arms, forward and back. Something else that's quite intriguing about the arms is if you actually move them around, they are really, really flexible. Like, they're definitely some form of a rubber. I don't really remember the Mattel line having such flexible arms previously. You can also see we have a white that leads back from the armpit area of our Guanlong and then stripes back to the hip region of the dinosaur, which looks pretty cool. They've also allowed some of the grays to sort of creep through that white, which is a nice little touch there. Unfortunately, just like with the Lystrosaurus, we have the big Jurassic Facts app code thingamajigger here up on the top, which I don't like, I still don't like, and I never will like. I wish we'd just go back to including the scan code on the underside of the feet, because it just kind of ruins the sculpt, especially if you were going to repaint one. It's just like obnoxious and not very nice looking. I will say that till the end of time, but I mean, I guess it's there. Might as well pull it out for you guys if you want to add the Guanlong to your collection as well. There you go. That'll give you the chance to do that. But you can see there's some feathering kind of picking up, running along the spinal column, like extra feathering there kind of sticking off of the spinal column, and again quickly disappearing. And then as you move back into the leg, you can see the thigh sports that white tone. Again, more feathering moving down. As you lead down toward the foot, you can see the skin texture returns as you lead down toward, like, the ankle. Unfortunately, there isn't any difference in color compared to the feathered area of the leg compared to the skin textured area of the foot. The foot looks decent though as far as the sculpt goes. Nice scoots down the toes. You can see a speckling down there with the dark gray, pretty much the same gray we have up here. And again, the nails are sculpted nicely, just not painted. You can see dew claws and everything right there. You do of course have articulation in the legs as well, forward and back. They're also a little bit flexible, but they're more like your standard Mattel material. And then you lead out here into the tail. Of course, you've got a swivel tail for the dinosaur, but you can see, again, we continue to have that fully feathered look here moving out as we have a really nice amount of feathering moving down through the course of the tail. Nice curve in the tail as well as you lead down, and you can see the skin texture here for the underside. Just no alternate tones of color for the underside of the dinosaur. And then you lead here around to the other side, and it's pretty much the same thing. The eye is painted with a yellow, given a black pupil. Looks like it's, yeah, probably the same color that we have for the face overall, so they really didn't have to actually apply any paintwork to the eye, possibly, though it does kind of look like it has a slight orange tint to it, so maybe it is a slightly different tone. It's very hard to tell. It's very similar either way, but as you lead back, you can see everything looks pretty much the same over here as it did on the first side. The only difference really is the leg is leading here, whereas the leg is trailing on the other side. But definitely a very cool Guanlong. As far as the size goes, we obviously don't need to measure the Lystrosaurus or anything because we've reviewed that figure previously. We don't need to do anything really with that one because, again, if you want to see a more detailed review of the Lystrosaurus, make sure you check the original review I did for the set with the Lystrosaurus included. But for the Guanlong, lengthwise, you are looking at about 5.5 inches or just shy of that, or about 14 centimeters. And then for a height, the highest point would be the crest, just shy of 2 3/4 inches or around 7 centimeters, and I knocked it over. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Guanlong, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day Human Being next to our Lystrosaurus and Guanlong set. And you can see they're pretty much the size range you would expect them to be because, again, the set here is pretty similar in size to the previously released Eoraptor and Stegoros set. So if you do have that set, you're definitely going to know already what the size is for this set. And the only other comparison I feel like we really need is the Beasts of the Mesozoic Guanlong next to the Mattel version, just to give you an idea of how these figures size up next to each other as well. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Chaos Theory Danger Pack release of the Guanlong and Lystrosaurus is definitely fun. Of course, I would have much so preferred a different painted Lystrosaurus. Had we been given a new version of the Lystrosaurus, at least a repaint of some kind, I would have been much more excited about this because the Lystrosaurus sculpt is awesome. And again, the fact that we've only had it one time previously leaves a lot of room as far as repaints and stuff. And Mattel normally loves their repaints, but unfortunately, they chose to just give us the exact same figure, which is actually becoming a pretty common trend with them. But the exact same figure, again, just repackaged in this set. It is still an amazing figure, though. I just really would have liked some form of a repaint. The Guanlong, of course, is the star of this set because it is the only brand new figure, and the figure is really nice, honestly. I think the sculpt looks really good. It's very highly detailed, really crisp detailing. The fully feathered look is nice as well because it's not something we get too often from Mattel, so I always appreciate when they give us a feathered dinosaur. And the paint scheme is pretty decent. Again, it's flashy enough that it really stands out, but also natural enough and, you know, realistic enough that I could see it being the coloration of this species. It's got some fun articulation as well. And the only thing that I think really could have helped it would have been maybe painted nails. But overall, I still think it is a really quite nice looking figure. So as per usual, another really nice release from Mattel. I really, like I said, wish we had a repaint rather than the same repackaged Lystrosaurus, but it is still a set that's worth picking up for sure to get the Guanlong, but of course also for the Lystrosaurus because that figure, as I mentioned, wasn't really all that available when it first released. So if you are interested, check your local Walmarts. My good buddy Matthew was kind enough to hook me up with these so that I could get them in my collection sooner rather than later. So a massive thank you goes out to him. But again, check your local Walmart. Hopefully you find them and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.